Happy Monday, Sooner Nation. Welcome to the Sooner Thirds podcast that tells it like it is. Here for a special live show. We will still be doing our normal live show tonight. I think we're going to start 30 minutes early tonight at 9 o'clock because, as everyone knows by now, unless you're living under a rock somewhere or just haven't been paying attention to any notifications, Joe C. has announced that he will retire. This will be effective immediately upon his replacement. As soon as the replacement is hired, move into the athletic director emeritus role. Stillerman, it's a special live show because of the Joe C announcement. Yeah. I don't know if you guys have seen, though, but he will speak to the media. He will speak to the media tomorrow at 9 a.m. along with President Harris. And I thought a couple others are going to speak tomorrow, Jackson. They're going to have several speaking to the media tomorrow. So we'll hear from Joe C himself tomorrow. But we wanted to do just a midday live to get everyone's thoughts on the Joe C situation. Normal live will be tonight, but it'll be up 30 minutes early. It'll be 9 o'clock instead of 9:30. So if you can't join us now, join us then. But Jackson, always around July 4th, there's fireworks, not just literally in the neighborhood, but there's fireworks in the sports world, specifically Oklahoma fans, because you had the James Harden was near July. Now this is just go back to 1998. You can't, Jackson. You weren't born. You weren't alive. Jay and I were alive when Joe C came to Oklahoma in July of 1998. We said, "Who is this guy?" He comes in and he makes the big time hire of Bob Stoops the following year, and then the rest has been history. He's been a phenomenal AD. Now, there are people, Jackson, who are on the other side saying, well, bye, like Ron Brown and others say, sayonara, but you cannot argue with what he's done at the University of Oklahoma.
Well, Joe C., I mean, he made the hire of Bob Stoops, which resurrected the football program. I mean, I think that's where it starts for him, and you know, I think it's really interesting that Joseph Harris said in the letter that Randall Stevenson is going to be the leader of the search for the AD. I don't know if you've seen the tweets by Travis Davidson. He's talking about maybe the idea of it being somebody that's from a private sector. With the way that college football is becoming, it's becoming more of a business-like approach instead of a relational approach. So somebody that's kind of just going to come and going to be kind of like more of a business guy and going to be maybe better with money. Ron says Jim Nagy. Jeremy, me and you both think that Jim Nagy is going to have a big say in, have some sort of input in it with the connections that he has. And I know Jay does not agree with that. But I think this is something I'm really interested to see how go ahead.
I can't either. It's my end or your end, but you're just glitchy and lagging and it stops. Jake, is that the way on your end?
You're lagging for me, Jeremy.
I'm not sure. You guys in the chat, tell us if there's a lag on your end. But I agree, Jackson. Nagy, I think, will have a say. I'm not going to say he's going to have a big say. I said he's going to have a say. Ron says it's me. So.
Yeah, but I think just the input that Jim Nagy is going to have is very, very interesting. Maybe like do him and Randall Stevenson tag team this, because I'm sure that Randall Stevenson in some sort of way had an input in the hiring of Jim Nagy, just with the relationships that he has and everything. Now, we don't know for sure what kind of input that was, but
why? Hey guys, can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Why would Nagy have a say in this?
Okay, Jay, I'm not saying Nagy's going to have a big say. Listen, if you've been around the Senior Bowl, he knows probably every AD there is. He's got connections, all sorts of connections. I guarantee you. Now, I see what Ben says, and this is what I wanted to bring up. And we'll talk more about it tonight at 9 o'clock. We're going early tonight. But Randall Stevenson is the advisor directly to Harris and Joe C. But, guys, he's also more about NIL and more of the football restructuring as well. So don't just act like, well, Nagy's football, he won't have a say. If you say that, then what about Randall Stevenson?
I'm not saying because he's football he won't have a say. I'm saying
Why won't he have a say, Jay?
well, this person would be over him and be his boss. Doesn't usually work out that way where you pick who your boss is going to be. Just my thoughts.
Yeah, well, I do think that, as Jeremy was saying, with the connections that he has to all kinds of different places and everything, that Jay, that is some sort of importance, because we don't know, like, obviously we have no idea who the AD is going to be, but just having all these different connections and inputs to everywhere is going to have some sort of implication or just help with the process, because Oklahoma is one of the most iconic programs, not just in football, but you talk about softball, women's basketball, what they're starting to do there. The men's basketball team, they're coming off making the NCAA tournament. The baseball team's been good with not very much handed over to them to use. And so it's like, if they can get somebody in, that's just more of like a business-like approach, which is, I think, what they should do. And just somebody that's really going to be able to take not just football, in which it needs to make a jump, but all other sports that can continue to evolve and adjust to this era of what college sports is becoming.
And no one is saying Jim Nagy. Look, what you said about Harris Jackson is true. Like Randall Stevenson is going to lead the search. Go look at Randall Stevenson's background. Obviously, chief executive guy of AT&T. He's been around markets, business, all those things. This is the world that we're in. Now, you do need someone who knows athletics and who knows the broad range of athletics. And there are some names. I mean, there's some names. There's Kirby Hocutt, who's been at Tech. There's Selman, who's used to the SEC and has connections. But, yeah, I'm not going to read that comment. But Bob Stoops, listen.
That's not happening.
I don't see a world in which that would happen, because I think Bob Stoops enjoys what he's doing now.
And why would Bob Stoops want to enter into this era of football whenever he stepped away? Because he probably saw some things like this coming in the near future in the first place.
Hey, what is the percentage if they hire somebody from SEC, already in the SEC?
I don't think it's happening.
And how important is that, or do you think it is?
It's not.
No, it's not.
Okay.
Hey, what's your thoughts? And I hate speculation, but why now? Why now?
Well, for me, it's because I think there is going to be a lot of new rules and NCAA implemented. Like we've already seen the revenue sharing stuff. I think a lot of things are going to be changed. And I think that Joe C has, he's seen the mess that it has already become. And I wonder if he's kind of like, well, there's no one in charge in the NCAA, so there's no guarantee that this is going to get fixed. The new rules could just be a debacle of a situation, something that doesn't work at all. And so I wonder if he's wanting to step away. And he's been in the role for, 28 years?
So this is his 28th year.
So, he served a ton of time. And the NIL world, a lot of the older, guys that have been around college football for a long way, you saw that's why Nick Saban stepped away, because of all the NIL and everything that it was starting to become. And I think it's a mess right now. And now I know I've seen some stuff on Twitter about people saying maybe Joe C could be in the running to the head of the NCAA because he served on the college football playoff committee. He has that experience just being an AD out of school. So maybe that's something he wants to do. But I just think with the mess that it's becoming, that could be possibly why he's stepping away. But at the end of the day, I don't know. That's just my speculation, but I don't know that for a fact.
Yeah. I don't want to speculate on that. The NIL is too difficult. I mean, 28 years at a program. He has restructured in the last 3-4 months. They've had to lay several people off in the athletic department, in the athletic office. That's a fact. That's never easy to do, to lay people off. So there is that. You have the restructuring of the athletic department. You have all the changes. And then maybe he just thinks that it's going to be in a good spot. And I do think it's in a better spot now than it has been because of the restructuring. I mean, with Nagy, Randall Stevenson, and guys, as far as I know, Randall Stevenson wasn't even getting paid a salary.
No.
So, I mean, there's interesting things to follow. One would be how long, I should say, this is going to take.
Right.
Joe C is done when the new hire gets there. Now, he's still going to be there. And to me, that's why a name like Selman, I was talking to Kevin Fanstop earlier, that's what's interesting is a guy like Selman, he would be okay with Joe C being there. That's probably not the case for everyone. To have a guy who's been here 28 years still be in the program, that's like someone's looking over your shoulder. To me, that means you got to hire the guy who can handle that.
Yeah. I think, Jeremy, like, that's another way that you could go is Selman, just because like he has the familiarity there with Joe C, with the program. He was at Oklahoma for a while. That's an option. I know a lot of OU fans. I don't know how they feel about that. But Benjamin says no on Randall Stevenson for me. AT&T is the worst customer service.
I agree. My internet's glitching right now.
Yeah, but I mean, I think you just you're going to have to get somebody that's going to go out, that's going to be aggressive, that's going to want to maybe take some risk, in which the era that college football is becoming and just college sports that you're just going to have to take some chances as an athletic department. Joe C, I think he was starting to adjust with Jim Nagy, with all that hiring. I think that's actually a great forward-thinking thing that he did, because a lot of college football teams, you see them, they're starting to try to hire GMs and stuff. But OU, they already have this whole general manager, this whole scouting department set in place. They have Randall Stevenson, right? They have all these guys in there to work for them. So I think it's very forward-thinking in that part. But
Hey,
I'm just of the fan that you just need somebody that's going to go out, that's going to be aggressive, that's going to try to take big risk. And I'm a fan of big risk, big reward. If it comes to hurt you, it does.
hey, guys, I think OU in this situation needs to be very not boxed in. And what I mean is there will be people lined up to come be the athletic director of Oklahoma. They don't need to be like, oh, we want one or two guys we're going to go after. Open this thing up. See who wants to come to Oklahoma. I bet there's quite a few that line up to come there. So, don't limit yourself on maybe, well, this guy. I think you just put it out there and see who wants to come join Oklahoma. You're in the SEC. You're a top program in a lot of sports. I think it's going to be a job that a lot of people are interested in.
Well, they're going to put it out there. I mean, that's what they have to do. Stillerman says, are we going back to OU only hires? Didn't we just learn that lesson? I hope they're not doing that. I hope that's not what they're doing.
I do too, but at the same time, you're sitting there saying that certain guys are going to have an input of who to hire. Open this thing up and go get the best guy you can get. Open this thing up and go get.
Been there 3 months.
Open this up and go get the best guy out there. That's what they need to do. I don't care what kind of time.
Hey, here's the issue. I just said, I don't know if you heard me. Joe C's still going to be there.
Yeah. Yeah. I still think.
I don't know if Jay heard that.
Hey, I just said this. I think you're going to need somebody that's going to need to come in and swing big. In order to do that, you're going to have to swing big for an AD. I don't know who that's going to be. We don't, but I would not be shocked if it's somebody that's no one's thinking about, somebody that's way out of the blue, out of the ordinary. Because I can tell you, no one in their right mind ever thought that Jim Nagy was going to come and be the GM at Oklahoma when that happened. So I think Oklahoma now, they have this mindset. They have this confidence like, hey, we went on and got Jim Nagy because getting him from the Senior Bowl, that was a pretty big deal. to get to come to Oklahoma whenever it wasn't doing the best, especially in the football side under Brent Venables these first few years. But guess what? They're going to swing big, in my opinion, and I think Oklahoma is going to make a great hire. And obviously, there's going to be Oklahoma fans that are going to hate it, but you're just going to need somebody that's going to come and have the mindset. We want to be the best that we can in every single thing that we do. And that's going to take being ultra aggressive, going out and spending the big bucks. That's what you go out and do. Jeremy, you there?
I couldn't hear much there. I don't. My internet, AT&T for me is being awful right now. But Ben says I don't know anything about 80s. Yeah, you're going to have to do some research, guys. There's been some names thrown out there. The Florida State guy. You had Kirby Hocutt. You had Selman. But there's a lot of intriguing things, and we're going to hear from Joe C tomorrow, like we said. We're also going to have our normal live tonight. Probably early around 9 o'clock. But right now, before we leave, Jackson, Jay, just give me the short list. One name that you would say if you had a bet today, and maybe you don't want to say that right now, but who would it be?
I don't know. That's tough. I mean, I think I'm going to go with just this statement. I just think that it's going to be somebody that is going to be very out of the blue that no one's expecting. I think it's going to be.
That's not Selman for sure.
No, I don't think it's going to be Selman. I know a lot of OU fans are going to say Selman just because he has the experience with Joe C, but I think you need to go out. As I've said multiple times, I want you to be ultra aggressive, swing big. I've seen the West Virginia AD on Twitter a couple times. I'm not too familiar with him. I don't know if Jay or Jeremy, you guys know much about him. But I think you need to swing big, and it needs to be somebody that is going to come in from immediately, and they're going to make their impact felt.
I mean, I think the obvious names that already been thrown out there are Selman, Kirby Hocutt. Well,
Jay, your audio's bad.
Yeah, you're going to have to leave. Hey, Stillerman says Selman is the ultimate lazy OU hire. I agree. It's the safest hire, and that's not always the best hire. To me, that's not swinging big. And I saw the comment about shout out to OU fans who made this happen. OU fans didn't make it happen. Joe C is retiring on his own accord after 28. Listen, really, really good years. Early years may be better than the later years, but there's a whole lot we can talk about later tonight. And Brandon says the safe hire is never the right hire. And that's probably true, yeah. Guys, tonight at 9 o'clock, we'll have our normal Sooner Surge live, so make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Just wanted to get on here a little bit and get just the news out there and talk about it as a group. So can't wait tonight to talk more about it. We'll catch you guys later on the Sooner Surge. Thanks for watching.